Good evening, everyone. Sorry about the short delay. I would like to call this Hammond Redevelopment Commission meeting to order on this Tuesday, December 17th. It is now 4:40. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? A moment of silence after. Commissioner Myers, could you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you on that, Commissioner. We have a roll call for tonight's roll.
Merrick.
Here.
Soto Presley. Kasperky.
Here.
Myrick.
Here.
Hopbridge.
Here, for the record, we have 4 present with 1 absent. Okay, number 3 is a declaration of conflict of interest. Okay, number 4, communications.
None were received.
Okay, that brings us to number 5, our minutes dating November 7th, 2019 and November 19th, 2019.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for the Hammond Redevelopment Commission meetings for November 7th, 2019 and November 19th, 2019.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our minutes. One dating November 7th, 2019, and the other November 19th, 2019. If there's no corrections or additions to these minutes, let's have a roll call then, please.
Merrick.
Yes.
Soto Presley. Kasperky.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Hopbridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, we're gonna skip number 6 and 7 and move number 8 up to the next item. We'll come back to those. Number 8 is an annual information on tax increment allocation areas for taxing units within the Hammond taxing district. We have Carl Sender here.
Good evening, Commission members. Thank you for inviting me here tonight. In recent years, the Indiana statute, or the legislators, approved a change that requires the Commission to hold a public hearing or a public meeting in which we give an update to all the taxing units that are within the Hammond allocation areas. There's 3 things, and you have a handout that kind of follows the presentation here. There are 3 things that on page 1 or 2 that we need to present. The Commission's budget with respect to the allocated property tax proceeds for each area, the long-term plans for the allocation area, and the tax impact on each of the taxing units. So I believe letters were sent inviting all the affected taxing units here tonight. I don't believe anyone is here, but we should, for documenting in the minutes, we'll go quickly through the presentation and present this information to show that we did hold this meeting here tonight. So on the 3rd page, we have our tax increment revenue for both 2018 actual and then kind of our projected for 2019. We still haven't received our final distributions yet. They should be coming any day now. I'll just quickly go through each of them. For the Gateways allocation area, our estimate for 2019 is $1,063,000. For the Central allocation area, $3,604,000. For the Roby allocation area, $286,000. For the Woodmar Gateway allocation area, $1,600,000. For the West Point allocation area, $310,000, and for the downtown allocation area, $668,000. The State Line Energy is allocation area, as you may recall, is a new allocation area. They're projected to only collect less than $10 for this year, because they really haven't they're in the process of building their project out there now. So the 2nd page is our budget for each of these allocation areas. Many of these areas we have bonds outstanding for projects that you've all awarded and authorized the project for. And so we have budget for amounts for debt service, other services and charges, and then a grand total for each of the allocation areas. The next page, 5, then just lists the outstanding bonds and obligations that the commission has. We've listed them by each of the allocation areas, as well as by each outstanding bond, and then the date that the bond issue matures and is paid off. So that's on pages 5 and 6. And then let's just go quickly through page 7 for the long-term plans for each of the areas. Really, your plan is really to continue redevelopment throughout the city of Hammond in each of these areas to make infrastructure improvements and also assist with economic development. And that's really through the various plans that the commission has adopted. You're just trying to further development here in the city. So we've listed again by each allocation area dates that these areas will sunset or will end. And so those are all listed for each of them. Tax impact is the last page. We are showing that there really is no tax impact to the affected taxing units because without these economic or redevelopment areas, there would not be any substantial growth. And so we're just using the but-for test. If it wasn't for this tool that you have, there really wouldn't be any new growth in here. So with that, that really kind of concludes our report. Unless any of the commission members have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
No, just thank you for this packet. It was put together good and easy to follow along.
Nice big print.
All right. Well, thank you, and wish each of you a Merry Christmas, and we'll be doing this again next year sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There's no action on it.
There's no action on it.
No, you're just required to hold the meeting.
Right. Okay, that was good. Good positive numbers there and information. All right, then we'll move back to number 6, Resolution 07-2019. Resolution of the City Hammond Redevelopment Commission approving an amended declaratory resolution that established and designated the Gateways redevelopment area. Approve the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area and designated the Gateways allocation area in order to modify and expand said redevelopment area. To amend said redevelopment plan for the Florida Parish sub-area expansion area and to expand said allocation area.
Members of the commission, at this time, if you would like Brian Shuck or Dan Bowditch to come to the podium to discuss this, they are in the audience.
Okay.
Would you like them to come forward and give you a brief overview?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Bowditch.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to come before the Redevelopment Commission. As stated, the amending declaratory resolution before you this evening is to provide for 3 actions. 1, to modify and expand the Gateways redevelopment area for 2 specific sub-area expansions. To amend the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area for a Florida Avenue, Parish Avenue sub-area expansion that includes the land use provisions that are required by statute, and to amend the declaratory resolution to include the sub-area expansion areas as an allocation area, and to amend the allocation provision for the designation of the area for the purpose of tax increment financing. The plan that's being amended is the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area, specifically titled the Florida Parish Sub-Area Expansion Area, similar to the Calumet Avenue and Kennedy Avenue sub-area expansions that were done in about 2011 or 2012. Altogether, assuming the expansion is approved this evening by declaratory resolution, the area in total would be known as the Gateways redevelopment area. As shown on page 11 and mapped out, there is a detailed description. I've provided for a handout of the map to you. before you. The Florida Avenue area is located just northwest of the current Gateways area shown in yellow. It is a small area that is currently vacant property. The intent of the plan is for the Gateways redevelopment area to be expanded to include this vacant area for the purposes of redevelopment infrastructure to be constructed and installed for the development of new homes in the area. The other part of the expansion area is along 165th and Parish Avenue, the blue part to the north and the northeast of that area from the Florida Avenue. The purpose for the expansion there is also for utilities expansion into the sub-expansion area. The city of Hammond received a TRAX grant from the state of Indiana for a new overpass. And the opening of this land and available as some of it is, a good portion of it is vacant land. That would allow for expansion of new development and economic development in the area as utilities are provided to supplement the overpass, in addition to redevelopment of the current commercial land uses that are along 165th Street. The zoning for the property is predominantly at 165th Street and a parish, either residential or commercial along 165th Street. The Florida Avenue is zoned currently residential. The land uses would remain the same, consistent with the zoning. The statement of area needing redevelopment findings that are required of any redevelopment plan are identified on pages 14 and 15 of the plan, which includes all the findings of an area needing redevelopment, including substandard land, vacant area, obsolescent buildings, in addition to others. There is no land acquisition anticipated at this time, and it is not identified in the plan itself. As far as the budget, we've worked with the city of Hammond as well as discussed it with our internal engineers, that the budget for the plan would be about $800,000 for infrastructure improvements related to the TRAX overpass and the Florida Avenue utilities for residential development. The land use plan itself is located and identified in page 18 through 22 for residential and commercial purposes. With that this evening, that's pretty much a good overview. Tried to keep it brief because I know that that's how Mr. Westland likes it.
Don't blame this on me.
You said, I believe you said the yellow area is designated for new homes. How many homes might that be, your estimation?
The blue area, northeast of the blue area, northeast of the yellow area, there is a small finger along which Florida Avenue is located. We don't know at this time. It's vacant property, so however it would be subdivided, but I would assume anywhere between 11 to 12 new residential properties.
And we're still in the process of laying out what that might look like, but 10, 11 is sort of the number, and there'll be single-family homes.
I just think new homes in Hammond is a good thing. That's why I asked.
Correct.
It's a very good thing.
That's my only question.
And of course, this is a declaratory resolution, so if approved this evening, it would then go, just so that we all understand the process as usual and similar in the past, it would then go to the Plan Commission, who would make a finding of fact determining that is consistent with the city's official planning for the city's development. It would then, assuming it's approved at the Plan Commission level, it would then go to the council as the legislative body that approves all official plans. At that point, it would come back to the Redevelopment Commission for a public hearing and then a confirmatory resolution. So this starts the process. And as far as the allocation provision for the areas, for tax increment purposes, it sets the base date as January 1st, 2019, which is the preceding assessment date.
And the Plan Commission has a meeting at 6 o'clock tonight where this is on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of Resolution 07-2019, resolution of the City of Hammond Redevelopment Commission approving and amending declaratory resolution that established and designated the Gateways redevelopment area, approve the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area, and designate the Gateways allocation area in order to modify and expand said redevelopment area, to expand said redevelopment plan for the Florida Parish Sub-Area Expansion Area, and to expand said allocation area.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That's for resolution number 07-2019. Can we have a roll call then, please?
Merrick,
Yes.
Toto Presley, Kasperky,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Thank you, Mr. Bowditch.
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Bowditch.
And if I may, there are 5 copies for signature that are originals, and those copies are provided to bond counsel and the city so that there are available copies. We'll also have electronic copies made, so there's a record electronically.
Okay,
This is the 5th copy.
Okay, thank you again. Number 7 is approval of agreement for educational program by and between Purdue University, by and on behalf of Purdue University Northwest.
Members of the commission, I know you read the agreement and the resolution approving it, but sort of summarize, I mean, I'll take any questions on it, but essentially, under Indiana law, we have the ability to utilize money received from allocation areas that we receive through tax increment, TIF areas. We can use that to pay for educational services. What this agreement is an agreement between us and Purdue Northwest, because under the college-bound program, Purdue Northwest is the single largest recipient of college-bound dollars, just probably due to proximity. And what this allows the controller to do is to utilize some of the taxes received in the TIF areas, and there's a couple of them that have more money than others, right, where we've collected way more than is there to pay off any debt. It allows her to use up to 15% of the increment received in that area, which is capped at 1.1 million for this particular area, to transfer that money over to college bound so that it can be then used to pay Purdue. Purdue has to agree to that because the statute says it has to be used for educational services. Well, the college bound program and paying tuition is an educational service. Otherwise, that money kind of sits in this account and we haven't been using it. So this was a way to utilize the money for a statutory purpose, the educational purposes, and help the college-bound account in paying the tuition for that program. So, in order to do that, this resolution and agreement is the Redevelopment Commission, as the stewards of the tax increment, has to sign off on it.
So the reason it's coming to us is because of the tax, because of the TIF?
Because it's money generated from TIF, yes. But what it does is it allows, and I'm sure you've all read about the budget issues for next year because of the tax caps. What it allows, this would have come from some other source in the city, right? This $1.1 million to pay for college bound. This allows us to help that program, and that's, Heather told me, and I apologize, I don't remember. We send money to every single institution in the state of Indiana. We picked the one that was the highest percentage of students, right, where the $1.1 million doesn't even cover all of the students that go to Purdue Northwest. So we picked the institution where we'd get the most bang for our buck.
This helps and offsets that.
And it does offset so that it doesn't come out of some other pot in the general fund.
reading, I'm sorry, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good with it, yeah.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of agreement for educational program by and between Purdue University, by and on behalf of Purdue University.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That's for the approval of agreement for educational program by and between Purdue University, by and on behalf of Purdue University Northwest. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Merrick,
Yes.
Little Presley, Caspergy,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes. Motion passes, 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, number 9's our reports. Staffer Catarva, would you like to share anything?
Yes, I would just like to tell the members of the commission, I'd like to wish you a happy holiday, and I look forward to another year of growth and development in 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds very prosperous.
And a lack of change orders. Unless it's for hot dogs.
That's right, which I still haven't received.
And gold curtains.
Right.
Okay, number 10's our bills, register of claims.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to pay the register of claims for December 2nd, 2019 through December 12th, 2019 for the Redevelopment Commission meeting of December 17th, 2019.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine, can
Wait
you
a
just read the
Beginning,
claim?
yeah, beginning with claims dated 12/2 and ending with claims dated 12/12. Claim number R58217 through R58269.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. That's our register of claims. That's dating December 2nd, 2019 through December 12th, 2019. That's claim R58217 through claim R58269. Is there any questions for staff on these claims? Okay, then roll call on the claims.
Merrick,
Yes.
Little Presley, Caspergy,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes, 4 yes, 1 absent. Number 11 is new and unfinished business.
None at this time.
Okay. Number 12 then is public comment. If anybody would like to come forward, they have 3 minutes. You may come forward and speak now. Okay, public comment is closed. Before we adjourn, I'd just like to, Marion Soto Presley's mother passed away, so I just like to give my condolence and also on behalf of the commission here to her and her family. Our prayers go out to her. And then that'll bring us to number 13.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Can you all signify by aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.